What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are. It's the last day for the month of June, and I'm sitting up over $99,000 on the day in trading profits. Wow. Now, let me tell you, my results are not typical. I've been doing this for a long time. In fact, this whole month of June, even for me, has been very unusual. It's been so strong. Now, my best month ever was also in June. It was in June of 2020. So now, 5 years later, I'm having another fantastic month. I set a goal of $1 million, and I'm closing the month of June with over $1.3 million in trading profits. Wow. So on the one hand, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back and say, job well done. You crossed your $1 million goal. And on the other hand, it's back to work. Tomorrow is July 1st, and I've got to get back to it. Now, I'm not the type of trader where one trade could be enough profit that I retire and I'm done forever. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. One of the reasons for that is that I'm currently trading in a retirement account. So all of the trades right now are, and all the profit is completely tax-free, but, and there's a big but, I can't touch that money till I'm 59 and a half years old. So I've got a ways to go before I can take that money out without paying a penalty. Now, I could take it out if I don't mind the penalty. So it's not that I couldn't, but I probably should not. So my focus right now, and until I'm 59 and a half years old, is to continue trading, continue building up that nest egg for retirement, and in the meantime, continue being here, building the Day Trade Dash software to be the best software it can possibly be. So running a software company is what really keeps me going on a day-to-day basis. And trading, although I trade with the focus of doing it for income, is really something that's more long-term. The way I think about it is that trading is one of the few things that you can do completely tax-free if you're trading in a Roth IRA, which is a retirement account, individual retirement account here in the United States that many traders are utilizing. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and jump into today's recap. I'm gonna break down all my trades. I am still in France, so I'm in Europe enjoying the warm weather. It's very hot, but enjoying it and wanting to not overstay my welcome. Now, this week, on Friday, the market will be closed. Why? For the 4th of July. So, although I won't be in the United States to celebrate the 4th of July, the market will be closed. So, as just a side note, we have our 4th of July sales currently running at Warrior Trading. So, for those of you guys who've been interested in learning more about my strategy, I teach you the nuts and bolts of my entire strategy through my Warrior Pro curriculum. And as part of our special bundles that we've put together for the 4th of July, you'll have access to the tools that I use every day, including Day Trade Dash, the charts, the scanners, and the news feed. All right, so make sure you guys check out the link in the description and pin in the top of the comments to see our 4th of July bundles. Okay, so now let's go ahead and jump on to the screen share and start breaking it down. So here you see $99,069.18. I was just shy of breaking over 100 grand. And, you know, maybe I coulda, woulda, shoulda traded a little longer, but as you'll kind of learn as we go through the recap, the day was a little bit tricky to start. But you know what's interesting? The first stock I traded this morning was BMNR. BMNR, that was the first stock I traded, and it was also the last stock I traded. This stock is currently up 234%. But you know what's really interesting is it started squeezing early this morning, started pushing higher. However, there was no fundamental news headline supporting why it was going up. And then suddenly the stock got halted pending news. So now we knew that news was going to come out, but we were all sort of fearing it was going to be bad news, perhaps like a secondary offering. But the news was positive. The news was that they've received $250 million as a private placement to invest in Ethereum. All right, so now they're going to have $250 million on their balance sheet invested in Ethereum. And the stock immediately opens and goes from what was $5 up to, a high of $16 a share. Now, it's not the stock I made the most on, but it's the stock that I broke the ice on this morning, and it was the stock I took my last trades on. So let's start with those icebreaker trades, which were just before 7 a.m. So each day I sit down at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 1 in the afternoon here in Europe, or in this part of Europe at least. And I'm sitting down looking at our leading gainers. Now, BMNR was not a stock that I was paying attention to last week. There was nothing really about it that was significant, but all of a sudden this morning, it started to pop up. So here's how I traded it. We're going to go back here to this little window, and I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to see my first trade on it. So my first trade on this, you can see here, it pops up at 4 a.m., it sells off, it pops up again, it's sort of goes sideways, dips down, comes back up again, and I got in it right here, and I was looking for the breakthrough $7. So now let me just, sorry, I'm just confused on my my time frames here. So it was for the break of 7, but it was actually right here. So this is on Eastern Standard Time. So I got in around 6:45, 6:50, and it was on this micro pullback right here. We got the break of VWAP right here. We dipped down, and then first 1 minute candle to make a new high. So right in this area here, I made $2,800, which is not bad. Now, what I was hoping would happen is that we would break through this pivot right here, which was at 757, right? This is actually a flat top. I was hoping we would break through that level. We were not able to. But $2,800 isn't bad. It then sort of sells off. I don't take any more trades on it. I switch gears and focus on other stocks. And then it was halted, resumed here. And as soon as it resumed, I jumped in at 950 and was looking to just take a trade up to 10. It goes from 950 to 1050, 1150, 1250, up to $13 a share. And boom, I ended up locking up about $15,000 on that trade, $14,000. So now I'm up $17,886.57 on BMNR. Now, it did end up coming up to a double top right here. I did take a trade on the break through this double top. It squeezed up to 15. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to hold this level. It rejected back down. And that's when I was like, all right, enough's enough. And I actually lost about $500 on my last trade. I was just under 100,000 on the day and then gave back a little bit of profit. But I can't complain, and I'm not going to complain. It was not a big loss, and it doesn't matter. So that was BMNR. Now, after my trades on BMNR, we had WBUY that popped up. Now, WBUY is a stock that I've traded a few times, and to be honest, I don't love it. The problem with this stock is that you'll look at the daily chart and you'll see that it has a pretty well-established history of rejecting. You see these high volume red candles? In spite of that, I'm up $45,000 on the stock. How did that happen? Well, when the stock first popped up, I was kind of not interested. I said, well, WBUY, this stock pops up and it keeps rejecting. I really don't think I can trust it, so I'm just going to leave it alone. However, I recognized that it was having a hard time holding over about $9. And I drew this descending resistance line connecting these two spots right here, right there and right there. It came up right here, tried to get above it, and dipped back down. Came back up here, broke above it, dipped down, held, and I got in right here. It goes from 9 to 940, and that was a base hit. Made a little bit of money on it, nothing crazy. It sells off, goes a little bit lower, dips down, and then it starts to kind of base out right here. As it comes back up, I'm watching this level right here of 940, and right in this area, we now have an ascending support level, and I went ahead and jumped in, and we got a squeeze from about $9 up to $10. First micro pullback gets bought up, we go up to 1040 right there. We pull back again, we break through the new high of 1040, we go up to 11, we dip down, we go to 1120, we dip down, we go up to 1180, and that right there was $40,000 of profit. It goes from $9, to about 11, just 12, under 12. Now, in this area, I did have a couple of trades, some dips, buying the dips off of ascending support and selling in the breakouts. And on this one, I gave back maybe about $2,000 off the top. We did have this rejection right here, which was a little disappointing. But my philosophy in general is that I continue to trade until I give back a little profit. And then once I get back a little profit, I say, all right, I don't want to give back too much more. So let me just walk away with the rest in my pocket. Don't overstay your welcome. And unfortunately, this came back down below VWAP, sort of struggled at this level and then sold off a bit more. And so that ended up being, pretty much the end of my trades on WBUY. So after WBUY, I was up, pretty nicely on the day. I had traded WBUY and I had gotten the one trade on BMNR at that point. So I was up about 48,000 on the day, which is a really solid day. It was in pretty good shape. So after my trade on WBUY, which was through 730 and 740, 745, we had ARTL, which popped up on the scans. And that's now our leading, actually, it's our second leading gainer on the day. ARTL has a headline about positive first-in-human data for a novel non-opiate treatment candidate for persistent pain. Now, that to me sounds like a good thing. Again, I'm not, a medical professional, so I can't really speak to the significance of it, but it sounds good. In any case, the stock popped up immediately from 6 to 14. It dips down right here, and as it curls back up, I bought this curl right here for the squeeze higher. But here's the problem. Lower volume, higher priced, bigger spreads. And so because I had bigger spreads, I didn't feel confident taking big size. So I reduced my share size to just 1,500 share starter position. And although I was able to scale into 4,500 shares and a couple 6,000 share positions, I didn't go big on it. And so although I made some money, 20,000 in total through the whole day, I wasn't able to crush it. It was just a little too light on volume. And something you'll notice is that it's also easy to borrow. It's also on short sale restriction. So you can't short by hitting the bid. You can only short on an uptick. But because it's easy to borrow, we saw a lot more resistance as it was coming up of short sellers trying to short against the ask. This one also formed a descending resistance line, kind of came back up, dipped back down, came back up, dipped back down. We got this final pop right here, which was awesome, but the spreads were just too big, halted down, halted up, just too volatile now that we've got the open. Although it may go higher, I just feel like at this point, I can't manage my risk on it at this price. So earlier, I couldn't take big size because there wasn't enough volume and the spreads were too big. And now I can't take big size because the price is higher and the spreads are still big. Even though we've got more volume, the spreads are pretty big. So I did okay on it, and there's nothing more I can do. XCUR, this is the final stock I traded. Well, the last trade of the day was on BMNR, but this is a stock that popped up on the scanner. And this one was kind of surprising. Popped up on the scanner, all of a sudden pops up right here, and I bought that dip right there. It ends up going from it was $9.75, $9.80, $10, up to about 16, and then rejecting. It did not have news, but neither did BMNR and several other stocks that we traded this morning. And this one, unfortunately, pulled back quite a bit. So, and attention ended up shifting back to BMNR shortly thereafter as it resumed from its halt with the news of the, BMNR, with the news of the $250 million private placement. So as I sit there, $99,000, green on 4 out of 4 stocks, I just feel so grateful. I'm grateful to be green, and I am so thrilled when I see members in the chat room posting their P&L of how they're doing. And so, again, I'll say it as always, my results aren't typical, and there's no guarantee that you'll find success, whether you trade with me or you'll learn on your own. But I think, to me, common sense says that it makes a heck of a lot of sense to learn from someone who's in the trenches every day, as I am, who's putting real money on the line, as I am, and who has a well-established track record, which I do. So I would say, come on over and check it out. We've got our 4th of July sales running right now. They're going to run through this week end, and then they'll end, I believe it's on Monday, so a week from today. So you have some time. And what's even better about our sales is that they include a 7-day money-back guarantee. So you can give it a try. You can test it out. And if it's not a good fit, then no harm, no foul. It's no big deal. It's, we'll pay your market data fees for the week you were in the room and used our services and it didn't work out. It's not a problem. And for those of you guys that it ends up being a good fit, we'll be thrilled to have you as hopefully lifelong members. We've got a number of members who, they'll renew their membership and they'll say, oh, today, this is my 5th year. This is my 6th year. This is my 7th year, whatever it is. And, I love seeing that. I started teaching these classes in 2014. So this is my 11th year of teaching these classes here for members at Warrior Trading. So anyways, would love to have you guys come check it out. And I will be streaming tomorrow morning, as always, at 7 a.m. Eastern. So reminder, manage your risk, take it slow, and practice these new strategies you're learning in a simulator before putting real money on the line. And here's the great news. When you're a Warrior Pro member, we give you guys access to a simulator. We want to encourage you to do the right thing and take it slow. So check it out, and I'll see you guys back at it first thing tomorrow morning.